YouTube, what are you waiting for? I'm Josh Sawicki. I'm here to talk to you today and ask you what you're waiting to travel for. In my last video, I told you a bunch of different reasons on why I think you should travel. I'm here to tell you today about my experience with travel and how it's enlightened and broadened my view of the world. I've traveled all over this beautiful earth. I've seen parts of Europe, I've seen parts of Asia, I've seen parts of South America. I have gotten to see parts of the world that I've been able to experience and I've been able to enjoy. Recently, I've been trying to see more of the United States. I'm actually planning a trip back over to Europe in Norway in November. And my experience has been one that I waited too long to do. I got to experience Europe and Asia and parts of South America through my career. I worked at a company called World Fuel Services, and I allowed me to see different areas of the world. I got to see many different cities within Europe. Europe is a beautiful continent. I mean, there's nothing like the architecture of Europe, and every city has its own vibrance, its own life, its own culture, its own diversity. And they're all incredible places to go see. France, for example, is very much different than Germany, which is also very much different than Austria or Hungary. Italy is its own, little piece of the earth that's just very unique. And where it's situated in the world is a very beautiful place as well. Asia as well. I mean, it's a very different culture. And when you're there, you want to kind of immerse yourself in the way that the culture is, because it's definitely different than how the Western societies operate. South America, I have found that it is similar to how it is in the United States. I mean, except things are not obviously as, for lack of a better word, maintained. Even though there's very beautiful parts of South America, it's just I have found that the amenities are not as updated, but it's still an incredibly beautiful place to visit. And I would always say, I mean, there's parts of Brazil that are much nicer than any parts of the United States. I mean, within Rio, it's gorgeous, and Peru, also a very beautiful place. Now, my experience, I wasted some of my experience. Through my drinking and partying, I wasted too much time and memories, drunk, hungover, anything. So all of the places that I just got to say, I've seen it, I've experienced it, but it wasn't the experience that I want. It wasn't the experience or the adventure that God meant for me to have, because I saw it through a different lens. I saw it through a lens of non-clarity. And I can't take that back, and that's okay. And I don't regret it, because I'm still able to recall, yes, I was there, and have an idea on what it was. But I lost my pictures. I lost some of my stories just because I wasn't there. I wasn't really all there in my head. So if you've not gotten to experience the world through a lens of clarity, in my opinion, you've not gotten to experience the world. And so there's parts of this world that I've been to that I'm going to go back to, because I need to experience it through a different lens, a lens of clarity. There are things that I've seen in my drinking days that I got to appreciate, and I really got a deep appreciation for. I mean, for example, the Sistine Chapel. As you're walking through the Sistine Chapel and you see what Michelangelo was able to do, I think it was Michelangelo. I could be wrong on this. It was not Leonardo da Vinci. I do believe it was Michelangelo, but I could be wrong. So we could check that later, or please just let me know. But as you're going through and you're looking up, and it's incredible and just the beauty and the awe of it. And to think that, this is partially where some of modern religion of Christianity as we know it started. So even if you're not Catholic, you can get a great sense of appreciation by going through the Sistine Chapel. The Parthenon as well, like that is something in Rome that's just an incredible sight to see. Just the fact of the way that it was built and that dome is still standing to this day is amazing. I'm staying on Rome, but it's because it is an experience that really stuck out to me. And, seeing the Colosseum was an amazing experience. But, I have other things. Going and seeing Malta, for example, Malta and the beautiful churches. It was like a fortified country, very almost desert island-like, but still, there was the grottos and the fortresses that were very interesting. I visited a cave where there was very early origins of man that had been there, and it was beautiful. It was an incredible sight. I have, I've seen the Louvre and I've been to the Eiffel Tower. Those are experiences that I know I've done, but I remember also being hungover and barely being able to enjoy myself because I could barely stand. Spent lots of time within London, and it's an incredible city. And it's one of these cities that is very comparable to New York. So if you enjoy and immerse yourself in the city of New York, then you'll enjoy that. I have the luxury of living 45 minutes away from New York City. I can get in anytime I want to. And it's the best city in the world to me. So yeah, there's some experiences that I want to have back. But there's things that I just stopped waiting to do, and I just started to do them because I needed to start doing it. I kept saying, I want to see this, I want to see that. I'd always wanted to see the Golden Gate Bridge in the city of San Francisco. I'd always wanted to see Los Angeles. I'd always wanted to see the Grand Canyon. I'd always wanted to see Yosemite. I'd always wanted to see the Redwoods. I'd always wanted to see the sequoias. I'd always wanted to see Joshua Tree. And I just always talked about it for years. And so within the last couple of years, you know what I started doing? I just started going. I booked a trip to San Francisco, and I then booked a trip to go see Muir Woods, which is a beautiful redwood forest. And I got to go to Yosemite. And actually at Yosemite is where I got to see a sequoia. I still need to go visit Sequoia National Park, but I'll get there. And I got to experience all that Yosemite had. And Yosemite is one of the most incredibly beautiful places on this planet. When you get to the top of North Dome and you get to see all of Yosemite Valley, you're just awe-inspired. I have chills right now. My back is tingling just thinking about it. Because when I look at it and I look out and I look at the snow-capped mountains and I'm there sweating and I look out and I just see snow and beauty and awe and wonder on a beautiful blue sky, you appreciate what this earth has to offer and what God created in this life. And you're almost mad at yourself for not experiencing these things beforehand because we were put on this planet to basically immerse ourselves with it. I think God said in Genesis, set forth, multiply, but set forth, go out and see the world. We're put on this planet to have an adventure, to challenge ourselves, and to see this world for everything that it is. And it's a beautiful place. When I went to go see the Golden Gate Bridge, it's one of these things that I've always wanted to see my entire life. My entire life, I'd wanted to see the Golden Gate Bridge. When I was a kid, I did a project on the Golden Gate Bridge, actually. And the project was very fun to put together. It was like a little balsa wood project. But I'd always had this fascination of the Golden Gate Bridge. I didn't visit the Golden Gate Bridge until I was 34 years old. I think it was like I was technically 33, but I was turning 34 in like a day or two. So anyway, I don't know why I waited so long. So from the time I was 8, I'd had this awe of the Golden Gate Bridge, yet I didn't go visit it for another 26 years. What was I doing? Why did I wait? I don't know. I'll never know to this day. But you know what? I stopped. I remember being on the Golden Gate Bridge and I just walked across the entire thing. And I remember I looked down and I got to see whales and I got to see seals. And it was an amazing sight. I think that they were gray whales actually in San Francisco Bay. And you look out and you get to see Alcatraz, which I also got to visit, and you see all of downtown. And then you get to see, parts of Oakland, and you see the Oakland Bay Bridge, and I saw the sunset over the mountaintops of the Pacific from the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm actually looking at a picture of it right now on my wall. And you're standing there, and all you can do is just be in awe and appreciation of what you're doing, and you just have to be thankful and grateful for it. And I was, and I am. And I remember, but you learn things about yourself. For example, when I was on the bridge, I had actually been told that the pedestrian bridge that I was walking on closes, and I didn't know that. I thought it was just open all night long. Well, somebody came by, and I was literally 1.6 miles from the entrance that I needed to get back to. And I only had 10 minutes. No, I think 12. 12 minutes. Because it was 9:48 and it closed at 10. 1.6 miles. I was on foot and I had to do it in 12 minutes. I have never pressed and sprinted so hard in my entire life to make that. But you know what? I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could do 1.6 miles. I think it was actually 1.7 miles, but I'll say 1.6. And to do something like that, it also kind of opened my eyes, because it's like, wow, I can do that. I can do anything I want to do. So it just kind of pushes you. And even though that's just a physical aspect, it's something that I learned about myself, that it was just one of these things. But even though it's a physical thing that I had to push myself to do, I still needed the mentality to do it. I couldn't quit here. Because if I quit up here, my body would have quit too. But you know what? Your mind is stronger than your body. And this is what you start to learn. I've always wanted to see the Grand Canyon. Always. You could probably see behind me, I got some photos of the Grand Canyon that I've all taken. I went to Los Angeles and I got to experience LA. And I learned LA is not really one of the greatest cities in the world. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I think New York City is better, but hey, don't want to make anybody mad. But I got to experience what LA had to offer. And I drove to Joshua Tree. And I drove through Joshua Tree in a day. And I got to see everything that it had. And just going to Joshua Tree was almost like stepping back in time. I felt like I was like Fred Flintstone, kind of. Like, it definitely felt like I was back in a different era of this earth. And that's exactly what it is. It was from a different time, because the rocks and the way that they're formed and the landscape, it's just something that you don't get to see. And as you're driving to Joshua Tree, you see these beautiful snow-capped mountains, and it's an experience that you'll always have. Wanting to see the Grand Canyon is something that I have wanted to do my entire life as well. Grand Canyon versus Yosemite, it's very hard to say like what's more beautiful, because they're both beautiful in their own way. Yosemite has beautiful landscape because of all the water that surrounds it. And there's just something about the Grand Canyon that everything just seems to be a painting. And, as you walk down into the Grand Canyon and you get deeper into it and you get to start looking back up, and you realize that this canyon that you're walking into was created by water. Water, an incredible, powerful force. And it was just taken, the Colorado River just created the entire Grand Canyon. And you are in just awe and wonder on how this humongous hole, but it's more than a hole, was carved into the world. It just looks like it was carved. And you know what? Even though water was the force that did it, God had a plan for it. He carved it out with that water. He created the path of the water to create the awe and the beauty that the Grand Canyon is. I don't I don't care what your beliefs are, but there's no way that something like that just happened just by random chance. Nothing in this universe is random chance, and I've talked about that before as well. The Grand Canyon is more than just a hole. It's a spiritual experience. Because when you're out there and it's quiet and you get to see the millions of stars that there is, you realize how small you really are. And the problems of life that seem so crazy, you realize that they don't really matter. The stupid stuff in life that we worry about. And, I have to remind myself this more and more and more because, I worry about the dumbest things sometimes. And I have to realize that those things, they're just man-made and that they're not the important things. And that at some point, it won't matter because I'm not going to be here anyway. So, when I'm stressing about, things like home purchasing, or, just little stuff like, oh man, I got to save up for this because this is what I want. None of that stuff really matters. It just doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the only thing that you really have in this life is your experience and your view on this world. It doesn't matter if you have $1 billion or $5. If you're happy, that's what you want. You want this sense of fulfillment. And when you're in the Grand Canyon, and I looked up and I could see Saturn and I could see the rings of Saturn billions of miles away. And I'm here thinking to myself, I'm never going to get to experience Saturn up front. I just won't. Not my lifetime, they won't have that. And that's okay. But I get to see it through photos that NASA does. And as I'm sitting in the middle of the Grand Canyon, though, dead silence, looking up in awe and appreciation of what the universe has to offer. And I'm at the bottom of this hole that was created by a powerful force of beautiful water that God envisioned for us. I realized that the purpose of my life is not my accomplishments. It's my experience and the experience that I can bring to others. And that's what I'm really trying to do here through talking to you guys. What am I waiting for? I don't really know. As another question, I've always wanted to swim with orca. Always. And I can't wait to show you guys that video. That'll be in November, though. I had to push that back. I was supposed to actually go at the end of January, 2 different times, but I had to continue pushing it back. So I'm going to be going to Skjervøy, Norway, and having a little bit of layover in Tromsø, Norway. And I'm going to a small island called Svegelvik. That's what I think it says. I'm not sure how to say that, but I'll figure it out. And I'm going with an excursion called Valhalla Orca Expedition. And I'm going for 7 days, and we're going to look for pods of orca. And I'm going to jump in the water and swim with them. And that's an experience of a lifetime that I'll always love to have. Like, I have tattoos of orca, as you can see, because they are an apex predator. And they are one of the smartest sentient beings on this planet, because we are not the only sentient beings. Orca have feelings. They have emotions. They have bonds and connections, and they have experiences in this world as well. And the way that they view the world is still a viewpoint of a non-human person. And I want to jump in the water and I want to look in the eye and share a moment with the orca and just be in that moment with them. Because I won't be looking at just some animal in the ocean. No, I'm going to be looking at a non-human person, and I'm going to be scared, and the orca maybe not scared, but will definitely be curious about me. And it will know that I'm there, and it will sense me. And we'll just share that bond together. And that orca might never remember me, but maybe it will. I don't know. But what I'm saying is you need to get out there and you need to experience this world, and you need to go do what you want to do, because life is too short. And if you don't get to do the things that you want to do, you will regret it. You will. The life that I want, I know the life I want. I need to figure out how to get that. But in the meantime, I just continue doing the things that I want to do and stop waiting and just go start doing. Well, I hope you liked my video.